No, I've got the original text, but I got the channel wrong. So I looked at that and it said, oh, yeah, it's premiering Wednesday. And then when I went back today and looked up Brighton to Life Light, it's like, it's not there. What's gone on? It's on a different channel. That'd be why.
No worries. I'll send you a link. Hello, and you're listening to Let's Drone Out. Tonight, we are joined by everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Hello.
The man with the moustache, Stephen.
Hello.
The man who does the socials, Cole.
Howdy, howdy.
My darling wife.
I was waiting for it. Bonjour.
And I'm right to reply. Hello, good night. Was I right? And I heard thought that we were talking about Nightmare Build, or
Jack,
like
hand
projects.
microphone. Can't hear you.
Yeah, can't hear.
Oh,
We're in the mafia. This is how we talk when we don't want to be listened to. But for a podcast, you should really uncover.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, is it true that we were doing like nightmare projects? Is that right?
We
The
can
church
do. I mean, we
bells,
forgot
fires.
again, but we can always go back to it. Not a problem.
It's a jumping off point as bad as any other.
Yeah, because my personal nightmare was the Storm 32 gimbal. I think there's nothing more I hate.
You never
So
even got
close.
it done, did you?
I was so close to getting it done. It was almost working, and then it didn't, and then I got fed up with it.
Did you
Tell
smash
me
it
what a
up?
Storm 32 gimbal is.
Like there was, like I first got introduced to it by a channel called iForce 2D. He's a guy who he used to live in Japan, and he's lived in New Zealand, and I believe he's friends with Bruce, and he built like a camera rig quad, and he weirdly enough he bought a pre-existing. Hang on, I'll show you now. I can. He bought like a pre-existing gimbal from Banggood, and I just think that I was just too late regards the regards the sort of gimbal malarkey. Because at the end of the day, whilst I was trying to do it, it was pointless buying a gimbal. If you wanted a camera platform, you just the price came down where, the Phantom 3 Basic, was a couple of quid more.
Right. So this is one of those rarefied pieces of technology that existed in a window before something easier and better and cheaper came along, and then everyone was
explain,
no thanks.
Back in the day, when people had their F450 frames and they were saying, "Oh, this is nice and smooth," then the craze became gimbals, and at first the smoothest gimbal you could get was a belt-driven one, before brushless motor gimbals existed, and then it was a 2-axis, and then the holy grail of 3-axis gimbals. And for a while, DJI did their own 3-axis gimbal you could add to the F450, and then we started getting the cheapo ones like this, some of which worked on official firmware, some of which was this sort of hacked. What was it, Alex something firmware? Jack,
Alex Moss.
Alex Moss was the good firmware.
The Alex Moss, yes, I remember that.
And the results are still rougher than you just get with a GoPro's built-in stabilization these days, right?
These days, yeah. But back in the day, it was magic.
Yeah, this was talking 8 years ago, probably, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, he built. This is how much, how crazy he got. He built his own jig for it, and was balancing a Xiaomi camera, and I even bought like a similar, like pre-built gimbal thing, and
I remember you were trying to get it to work for so long, but it was such a difficult thing to program, right?
Yeah,
so the Storm 32 was the actual controller board with the IMU. It wasn't the whole gimbal then, by the sound of it.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, he changed like the IMU on, because like later on you had two IMUs, one on the base unit and then obviously one on the bottom of the gimbal, and he changed his out for a CC3D micro or something, and I like by the time I was doing it there wasn't any of those. I bought the better IMU from Germany, wired that in, still just couldn't get it to work. It was
chasing the dream.
It just
it must have just had something wrong with it, Jack, because you normally fix everything. So
nah, like it had.
Do you think it was something wrong with it? Or you just couldn't get
Maybe
it right?
it might have been like the Hobby King motors that I was using were garbage, but the thing is, I bought a brand new one because Curry was like, "Oh, it's the motor," which I don't hold it against you, Curry. That seemed perfectly logical, and bought another one. Still did the same thing. Have you still got the video for it, Curry? On your YouTube channel.
What we had, and to people that don't know, tuning a brushless gimbal is even more involved than like tuning a flight controller. It's and it's something that's like nonsensical through different bits of software that you had to do. And I think I had it where I could, because when Jack and I first met, he said, "Oh, I've got this gimbal." I was like, "Oh, I've sorted gimbals out before. My ones are fine. I'll sort it out." And I got it, and I had it two directions. It was fine, but if I then went just above what it could handle, normally like a gimbal will sort of bind up and just sort of and then you straighten it. It's okay, but it just freaked out after that point. It's like, no, I've gone mental, and I'm never coming back. Is what it did.
Yeah. It would just whip around all frantically, right?
Yeah, it go absolutely crazy.
When was the last time you got it out? Got the gimbal controller out and actually tried to use it? Has it been dead for a long time, or do you get it out every now and then and think I'm going to make this work?
I sold that custom rig to someone who wanted to build a camera rig, and I think I gave them the working gimbal that I eventually got working and the Storm 32 and was like, just take it.
I'm surprised you didn't burn it and set it on fire and record it.
Because I basically put a F7 board on there, and like it had like the mini diversity from the diversity receiver from TBS. Like I pretty much completed that whole build. It had like Sunny Sky motors and everything. It was just like the premium everything, fully
Sunny Sky,
fully carbon. Fully carbon frame, arms, the lot. The thing just didn't weigh anything, and it was like folding. Our mutual friend Dan Upton designed the body for it, and it was the RC Explorer arms that I cut down, and it didn't weigh anything, and you could like stick about a 3,000 milliamp battery on there. That was like the biggest. Oh yes, there we go. For some context, so Curry's showing the whole quad.
Wow!
I made this for the for a user group.
That's not
for
happy,
it.
Is it?
To like when we get to a certain point, we're getting this weird roll, which shouldn't happen. And it was kind of like you could almost fly it if you didn't do anything silly, but it wasn't quite right, and you couldn't trust
Whatever
something.
you do not fly it with any of the axis between 10 and 12 degrees. You can be less than 10 and 12 degrees or more than 10 and 12 degrees, but not.
Oh, that's right. And then the gimbal motors would just say, "Oh, we give up," and they would just turn off. And they would go all floppy and refuse to do anything anymore.
Gimbals are
because you have to. One of the things you have to do is like measure how hard it can it can push against you. You have to make sure
for the motor
torque is
stiffness,
right.
basically, right?
Yeah.
Torque,
I play around with like camera gimbals, and I don't know how similar it is to those types of gimbals. I'm guessing maybe somewhat similar, but yeah, just having to adjust the motor strength and then dial it back just a little bit so it doesn't fight you and give you weird sort of vibrations and stuff. It's I was actually doing it yesterday because I have a gig coming up that I'm going to be using my gimbal, and I haven't touched my gimbal for about 2 or 3 months now, and it's always a fun time playing with that and trying to get it to be stable and whatnot.
One of my favorite Curry Kitten videos is a Curry Kitten with a clone Alexmos gimbal controller, and this is
the one that went wrong.
Yeah, nicely
when
flying.
It freaks out. It's like wee.
I was just like, this is the man I need to take my gimbal to.
And bear in mind,
pain.
This is the camera I was flying through at the time, and this is my FPV view.
For audio viewers, we are seeing a serene view of Curry flying over a football field, and then it suddenly starts headbanging. The camera is headbanging in situ under the quad.
You had to land and try to control it with that view as well.
But this had a NASA in at the end of the day, so I could just return home. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a similar sort of thing, and I ended up replacing this gimbal because what happened was a voltage regulator seemed to go bad. I replaced that, and it seemed to work, and then this is when it sort of freaked out, and then I replaced it. I think I replaced this one. I also made this huge quad out of a NASA with a 3-axis gimbal, and then what happened is like DJI started bringing out quadcopters which weighed much less, with better gimbals and better cameras. And you're like, why am I playing with this? And that whole phase of let's put gimbals on things had stopped.
Was it the gimbal or was it the gimbal controller that was to blame?
The wind.
Hard to say whether it was the motors or the controller or combination of it all, really.
So I've seen Andy RC's videos, and he always seems to be flying with a head tracker. Anytime he puts any wing in the air, he's got a head tracker on it, and that doesn't seem to give him too much problem. But he's just got an FPV camera, so it's much less motor power.
A head tracker's just on a servo.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it the gimbal or is it the gimbal controller? Is it the brushless motors that are just rubbish, or is it the...
It's a combination of it all, I believe.
Very delicate,
quite a heavy camera.
Oh, that was a GoPro 2 on that one.
I've still got a helicopter in my roof with a... I've never had any trouble, thank God, because you know what I'm like, I'll just lob it against a wall, something like that, and I'll try to stick it together with sellotape, but luckily I had no problems with mine.
So basically what you're saying though, Jack, is you had something that didn't work, but you sold it to somebody and said, use this.
No,
do you good.
I got it.
What a master salesman.
Good way of doing it.
No, I bought a working gimbal that was two-axis gimbal.
Broken one, honest.
And then connected that to it, and then put a F7 board on there, and obviously the new iNav. So yeah, like back when I was doing that and stuff wasn't working, I think we were on iNav like 1.6 or something. I mean, the wooden shit copter that was on like iNav 1.4.
That was brilliant. I think.
Yeah, like that was just an absolute amazing piece of kit that I probably shouldn't have sold because it was just hilarious. Just completely made out of wood and flew great.
Well, I would have walked by now, so
yeah, it would have. It would have been like sacrificed to the fuel shortages. I'm fairly sure. So, but that was just one project. But by the time I put that, put that flight controller and like the long range sort of stuff, I just completely lost interest. I was like, I'm totally done.
Not
I'm
surprised.
just like, yeah.
Yeah, because these days you
wing
can drive gimbals and camera stabilization direct from iNav, right? You only have one IMU instead of one actually on the camera, but you can just sort of calibrate it and get iNav to drive the gimbal, can't you?
Yeah, so yeah, by the time I got to it, I was just like sick to the back teeth of it, really, because you know, like the I think what done me was like the Ollie who made the firmware. He was just like so unhelpful, you know, and was just it's periodically like more interested in developing like the motors where they have like a sort of tracking of where they are. I can't remember what that's called now.
Censored.
Yeah, censored gimbal motors and stuff like that. And you know, like was uploading stuff of his that just worked fine. But you know, I almost think that it probably would have worked a bit better if, because I was putting it in 2-axis gimbal mode. I think by the time the development had moved on into 3-axis, and because I was selecting 2-axis, they were like, "Who uses 2-axis anymore?" And you know that something got lost in translation in the code, and just didn't work that well. And I reckon if I had like, yeah, you know, like a similar thing I had was, like the what is it? OpenTX, that's it. OpenTX, like flashing some of the old transmitters with that, they dropped compatibility, but all the code was in there. And like if you did just happen to not read like why it wouldn't flash, or you know, like, but the options are still there, you have to go on the Wikipedia or GitHub and then read that like they dropped the compatibility, and then you have to go all the way back, and even then the, like, you know, to the point where it still worked. So you went back like, you know, to 1.5 of OpenTX. When I flashed it to that version that was the last known working version, some of the switches didn't work. The code that reallocated the switches to different pins of the Atmel chip just didn't work. And you know, you kind of had to, you know, keep going back further and further back till that worked. So you know, you know, in the name of progress, you know, like if you're there at the time and you flash that, it works great. But you know, stuff keeps moving forward and then other things break.
True that.
You know,
I do wonder how long HTX is going to keep some of those old radios alive. There's going to be a whole crop of quite decent radios that all use the same chip, and sooner or later someone's going to go, "Oh, it doesn't fit. Drop them." I wonder how long that'll be. It might be like 20 years. You have no idea, but it could be 6 months.
Yeah, like, you know, because like even the you know, like the SD card for the Tyrannus is like missing key things, so I don't think they're like maintaining the Tyrannus bus.
Pretty sure like thousands of people have that Tyrannus.
Yeah,
we did have a bunch of problem trying to get Jack's Tyrannus to work with HTX, by the way. Not exactly sure what was going on there, but it wasn't happening.
I've got it done now. It works.
What was the problem in the end?
Yes, Andrew.
Got no idea.
Don't update. Well,
if it works,
talking of going back to Nightmare builds, if I may. Yep. And I still own it. It's still up there on the wall, just out of shot. It is the FX79 Buffalo. This was supposed to be my big long-range plane. It is a 6-foot span wing, which can carry loads of battery, and I was very careful to build it up with the best components I could get, thinking it was going to be a long-range wing. So I had a Dragon Link version 1 in there with I got a 433 dipole made up by Big Nose, who used to do antennas for everybody, and I got a My Fly Dream autopilot, which was like one of the best you could get back there, and built it up very carefully, and we took it out for its maiden, which looks like, where are we? This is the amazing maiden throw by my buddy Neil here.
Very big.
Like, okay, let's give it full whack. We gave it full whack and did that.
Oh, the noise.
That is
When,
game over.
It's the sound of disappointment.
Something went wrong. We're not sure went wrong.
Really?
It didn't even look like it stalled. It just looked like it turned into the ground somehow, and we didn't
Can we have
understand
a rewind?
No, because we rebuilt it. I rebuilt it very carefully. I patched it up. There's all sorts of fillet involved and stuff. And we
It wasn't trying to flip upside down in your miraculous. I configured it completely correct, but just upside down.
We checked all the surfaces, everything. And then I went out with my buddy Richard. You know, Richard, he's been on. Oh, hang on. We're not sharing this one. This is. Stop that one. I should just share that screen, shouldn't I? Share. Screen. That screen. Here we go. Lost permission to do your screen. Okay, we won't do the screen. We'll share our video tab again. Chrome tab. Okay. So here goes Richard. And the video's decided it's not going to work. Oh, come on. Buffer.
StreamYard, I ask you.
It's not StreamYard, it's on my end.
YouTube's a bit sketchy like that, especially if you haven't got enough viewers. Doesn't seem to bother to cache it.
Oh, come on. Hang on.
Gather from the funereal tune accompanying the video that the outcome wasn't superb.
No, this is a disaster build. Don't forget.
What is going on?
Maybe you could describe for our audio viewers, who are, let's face it, most of the people will catch this.
In the very first one, we threw it. It went up in the air and it came straight down really hard on its nose and exploded into bits.
Worst case scenario.
On the second flight, Richard wanted to try throwing it. He said, "Let's go for an unpowered glide. I'm going to put my fingers where the 11-inch prop is. Don't start the motor." So I was like, "Well, that's fair." But is it going to play?
I just don't think it is.
He threw it, and the glide. Oh, come on. What the hell
it looks so good. Curry has paused it on a shot with the plane heading slightly nose upwards in a steady glide.
For itself.
It looks like a great
the
throw.
buffer's all
Nothing
the way
can go
up.
wrong.
I don't know why it's not doing it.
It's just YouTube.
Look, it's right up to the end nearly.
Resolution. Let me go to 480p. See what happens. Oh, there we go.
All right,
let's try it again.
So your mate threw it, and he did a lovely job, and
we're going to refresh it.
It's still in one piece.
Just let it play.
Let it play.
I think.
So maybe you can just explain to the viewers, who many of whom will not be able to see this, what happened.
Yes, some people are saying, "Oh my God, those fingers right on the prop." So I agreed not to power it, and we did a glide, and you can see the glide. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with that, is it?
That is so beauty.
Then he's like, "Okay, I don't want to throw it like that because, you know, I play the piano." So he said, "I'm going to hold it underneath. It's a little bit awkward, but it's got these holes, and I'll throw it." And he did, and he threw it straight up in the air and smashed it on the floor again.
Oh.
So it looked like a clean break.
Yeah, and so I rebuilt it yet again.
Oh my God.
Because I was getting good at rebuilding it at this point. And what happened this time was better, although not to begin with.
So promising.
Better, he says.
Better.
Is it the same guy? You've got him to do it 3 times.
Yeah, there's only a certain amount of people I can get to hold that are played in a certain way. And we decided that we should do it like we were gliding it again. But he said, "I'll do another practice throw."
Which is perfect.
Should I knock the resolution down again?
Yeah, I'm wondering if the disaster is entirely the plane and maybe to some extent the operators.
Hang on.
What's going on with the radio? It looks like you've got something stuck halfway up the radio antenna.
Yeah, so that is a Dragon Link module, which is plugged in via PPM. So yeah, so the first time he threw it, he managed to basically crash it into the ground, but it wasn't too bad. And then his take 2.
Oh,
it's up.
Yes,
beautiful.
No. And we were like, this is amazing, and it actually flew really nicely. It was really, really smooth. It's a big wing. It's relatively heavy, and so if it ever shows, we got some nice smooth footage. But what happened?
Lovely.
Turn the volume down.
Get rid of that.
Oh, thank you.
Is we flew it along. We tuned the autopilot, which is a lot of little bits and pieces to do with the return to home and the loiter, and basically you're tuning it so the speed is right. It's not wobbling. It's getting its angles right. There was lots to do, and eventually we got that done. I landed it, and the landing's absolutely beautiful. That's what the AP looks like. We didn't have a very good VTX reception on this, but it was working. It was properly trimmed. It was properly sorted. It was looking really nice. Dragon Link worked really nicely.
Wunderbar. Yeah.
Where's the landing? And we said, I know, we'll do a chase, because that's what you do. You've got your mate there. He's got a wing. I've got a wing. And at that point,
go wrong.
The autopilot, I turned it on, and all the servos just started going twitchy like this, going absolutely mental, and it just wouldn't work anymore. And what had happened is the autopilot had just absolutely freaked out. It's such a great plane, but the AP broke, which is the thing, and then I couldn't get a replacement because they were like, oh, it's your fault. So then I did a video saying, don't trust this company. Because my autopilot broke and they didn't do anything.
I'll get them on your side.
Which they eventually then replaced it, and it's been sat there since, and I haven't flown it. The only thing I've done with it is I made another video called "Can I make the box that it came in fly better than the actual plane itself?"
Which I think
so hang on, I'm gonna knock this down straight away to like 480p. So what I did, I literally, made one of the flight test style. Let me get rid of that volume. Oh man, I can't believe this. This is back in 2015, everybody. This is how old this is.
Look at young Curry Kitten able to use his knees on the floor.
I think the motto is
do
not rely on YouTube for video archival. You can put the video in, but you can't necessarily get the video out again.
I spy a classical guitar there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got them all here. But we eventually managed to. This took 2 goes to get flying, because like everything was just made literally of cardboard. And what I didn't understand at the time is if you make your wing surfaces from cardboard, they're a bit flexible. So when I did fly it, my finger was all the way back. That is it. That is literally made out of the box.
Oh, someone needs to throw a wing properly.
It flew. I say it flew, but my wing is all the way back, giving full elevator up all the way around. And I'm like, we might just have to bring this in and land it. So the flight was quite short, but you can see it's flying. It's doing its thing. But yeah, we FPV'd it, we flew it, and my overall conclusion was that the box did fly better than the wing itself. I still don't know what was up with it. But it is still there on the wall. At some point, look at this for a landing. Boom! That's not really how you land. But yeah, at some point, I will take this out and try and fly it again. But it's you know what it's like with big things. They need a big area. I can't launch it myself particularly well. Yeah, I need a volunteer, and all my volunteers have. As soon as someone throws it and it explodes, they're not so keen on throwing it anymore, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that if it goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
that
was
another
my
big
nightmare build.
Big one that you smashed at, haven't you? What was the other big? It was a glider, wasn't it?
That was the glider. Yeah, I've repaired that as well. That's ready to go again. But that wasn't so much a nightmare. That was a misunderstanding. So it was, well, I forgot what it's called now, but it was from, I think we've had Rob on, haven't we? Who designed this, and it's 2.6 meters very big.
Yeah.
And when I built it up, I didn't realise that the tail section wasn't attached properly. It was just on with a bit of tape. And when we were flying it, and Neil was there as well, my friends who launched it the first time, he said, "Your tail looks like it's gone wonky." And he said, "Did you screw that in?" I was like, "It was already attached." What? And he's like, "No, it had to be screwed in." In flight, the V-tail, which started out like that if the plane is level, had gone round like this. And Rob said to me, "Oh, do you want me to land it line of sight?" Because he's better at line of sight than me. And it's like, I was flying perfectly happy FPV, it was going fine. But so I said, okay, gave him the control. And he's like coming around, and he just stalled it, and it's just splat, and that broke. And that was, I had to get like fiberglass sheets and resin to put that back together, because it's like composite material broke and stuff. But yeah, that's another huge wing. Well, not huge wing, huge glider that I need to have a go at, because that was really complicated to set up as well. I had to set up crow braking through the use of iNav flaperons.
Jeez.
plus actual flaps. Was it flaperons or was it? I don't know. But basically, the brake goes like that. Yeah. So it crows. There wasn't an actual crow section for it.
Can we see that this summer, please?
Depends on how much room I've got and how many friends I've got willing to throw big planes for me.
Not many.
It's a shame. Because you need some proper like wing people, some proper socks and sandals.
To be fair, I did, and I had the designer with me. He just happened to crash it instead of landing it.
Talk about my particular disaster build now.
Go on.
I had one thought when I was learning about tuning, and I thought more power is definitely better, and I wanted to build micros. I'd heard great things about these little 1106 motors, so I procured a whole bunch of Sunny Sky 1106 motors that were like, I think 6,500 or 7,000 kV, and claimed to suck down a ludicrous amount of amps, but go incredibly fast. Huge amounts of torque.
Back in the day.
Yeah, the little blue motors, and they were meant to go like absolute demons. And I had these, and I wanted to kind of cram as much as I could in. So I'd looked at the diatone range a couple of years back.
There's your problem.
2019, about very early 2019, late 2018. So I got like an R249 frame, the little diatone frame, and an HD camera, and these Sunny Sky motors. And then because I wanted to put the HD camera in there, I didn't have room for a VTX and an FC and an ESC. And you couldn't get small VTXs, so I was like, right, I'm going to have to get an AIO when they'd just come out. So I got an HGLRC AIO and thought, yeah, this is going to be fine. It'll do 3S. It was 2 to 3S, and it said it would do something like 15 amps per ESC, which should be enough for a modest 2.5-inch build. That should be all right. And I got this thing all built up, and it was okay. The video signal was nice. I think I had a run cam split in there. That was nice. Got some 1080p recording. Just couldn't tune the thing. And I kept trying to tune it to get the wobbles out because I wanted nice, smooth HD video. And I was tuning, trying to just push it a little bit more so it would be smooth and wouldn't have any kind of any oscillations in steady forward flight. And I just couldn't quite get it there. And then it started jittering a whole bunch. And this is not good. Put another battery on, try and loosen the tune a little bit and give it another go. And I took it up, and it just nosedived slowly and caught fire. Like, not just a little bit of smoke, but full on. The whole stack was just, not the LiPo, the whole stack was on fire. The flames out of the ESCs, the VTX was on fire, the HD camera was on fire. Any bit of plastic around all of that was all on fire. So I managed to rip the LiPo off it, and it was just this little funeral pyre of a quad. The entire thing was absolutely knackered. Burned the wire off, the insulation off all the motor wires. Burnt the run camera. The fire from the stack was big enough that it actually destroyed the camera. bizarrely enough, the only part that survived was the plastic top plate. I don't know what that plastic was, but it fared a lot better than all the motor wires. Yeah, that was something. I did finally learn how to build a nice HD quad that flew well and had a bit of power, but I'm still somewhat concerned about those Sunny Sky motors and exactly how much power they may have pulled.
Too much, maybe?
Yeah, a bit too much, I think. A lot too much. Yeah.
Well, at least your fire was outside. When Jack catches fire, he's normally inside.
Yeah, I know.
Did you get pictures of the aftermath of the fire?
I was faintly traumatized. I did carry it around in a box for a while. But
like a little dead hamster.
Ready to bury.
Dead hamster. But I finally stripped it down, I think, washed it all off with IPA, and yeah, it's gone. I do have another one of those boards because I bought two at that point. And this was when AIOs had just appeared and everyone was poo-pooing them. And I think, in retrospect, probably for a good reason. These days they're fairly bulletproof, but back then, yeah, I do not trust them. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use its twin. 15 amps, and it said 2 to 3S, and I think they just didn't. At 3S, it wasn't doing 15 amps, just wasn't to be trusted. Not at all. And even now, if someone says, oh, I want to get an AIO, what should I get? I usually tell them to find the one with the biggest current throughput that they can, because those boards just flat out lie. Like, the FETs on them are tiny, and if they say it's 30 amps a channel, it's going to be like really more like 20 amps. So you just got to give yourself a lot of headroom if you're going to do an AIO build.
That sucks. Tone?
It happens.
I don't have any disasters whatsoever to talk about.
Come on, you got loads.
Yeah, well, we should talk about them for you.
No,
DJI without the update and, just spinning upside down. You got loads, come on.
I can't remember any of them. It's been so
What about
long.
the Zode Dart, where you tried to run like 15 amps out of the 5 volt of the VTX? And
there's no video footage or evidence or pictures. This is just
there is. I got
because every time you tried to launch it, everything would turn off.
It's all lies, I tell you. I can't remember. My X-Class caught fire the last time I flew it. That's the only disaster, but it's been flying for 3 years without anything going wrong with it.
It didn't like it when you tried to do smoke that one time, did it? It made it fall out of the sky.
Yes, that was a bad idea. That
giant shunt.
It literally turned off the flight controller when I switched the switch, which we tested on the ground and maybe should have tested with props spinning, because it flicked a switch, turned on the smoke. It turned the smoke on, mind you, but it fell out of the sky. But that was only an hour build, and it was back in the air, thanks to everyone at MA4, maybe
5.
Was it? No, it wasn't 5, was it?
4 maybe, yeah.
4, I think.
4.
MA4, it must have been.
I helped.
Everyone did. Everyone got their hands on
the overcharge pack. That was a beauty.
Yes, that is. I'm not going to lie. That is actually true. Yeah. Oh, did you just come up here and burp? Is that what you did?
Hello, Coco.
Yeah. What happened? Maybe is Clive in the chat? I've got 2 4S packs. I've literally strapped together to make 8S, so they run in together, and so I've put one on charge and got off and done my business because there was people, there, so I could do other stuff, go and get something to eat or whatever. This was at a show as well last year, I think this was, and then come back and I was like, oh, it's charged, I'll take that out and put it in again, but managed to plug the same one back in somehow. Someone must have talked to me or whatever. So pressed charge it at 8 amps. See you later. And then Clive comes running over. Tony, your battery's gonna blow up. It's like I can't even remember. It was like double, wasn't it? 18. It was ridiculous. It didn't puff or anything, but it was basically a bomb. Which
did you get extra flight time out of it?
What's that?
I said, did you get extra flight time out of it, or did you decide to discharge it in a different way?
I can't remember how we discharged it. We plugged something in and ran it for a few minutes.
Very slowly is the answer.
I think we ran it for a few minutes with props off, but it wasn't doing anything, so we had to put props on. I think we plugged it into a 4S little mini quad or something and just ran it up and ran it back down to the normal proper amperage of the battery. But yeah, that was quite scary. Little bomb there. I've done that twice as well, so I didn't learn from my mistake.
At least you're learning.
I always just balance charge stuff so it complains. It's like, hang on, I don't see as many cells as you say there are.
Oh yeah, but if you got two batteries and you plug one in, it's easy to plug the wrong balance lead into it. Sometimes
exactly what I did.
You can mess this up sometimes if you're like parallel charging. You can get the wrong ones.
Yeah, the battery. It was saying, the XT60 was the one having all the power put in it. The balance lead was off the old battery, so it was like, I'm charging, nothing's happening.
We're putting energy in, but it's not coming up. We just keep going. See what happens.
Basically.
Raise, don't they throw an error if it sees that there's one voltage across the XT60 and a totally different voltage across the balance connector? That would seem like a really obvious thing to check for.
Not Tony's charger. It's discount.
No.
Depends how much you pay for them, I guess.
It's one of the pretty good charger.
It just can't understand. It can't read the voltage whilst charging at the same time. It's too much.
Well, it was reading the voltage off the other battery, so the balance lead was off the other battery. So the balance lead, it was saying, keep charging, keep going, keep going. I'm at 3.8, so the XT60 was the one taking all the energy in, saying, all right, I'll keep charging then. So it could have been at 3.8 forever. I could have left it on for 10 hours and it would have said 3.8 because it was charging the other battery. That's the thing.
How it didn't blow up,
I don't know.
Water cabin, the tarpaulin on fire and just
awful.
Maimed people at Wings and Wheels, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's not say where it was because I'm hoping to go back there this year.
Have you fixed the X-Class?
Still on the wall in bits with fire, smoke and everything.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that needs to be done at some point.
So, Jack, expect an X-Class left at your place soon to fix?
No, I don't know. I ain't got, The thing is, he needs to get, new plates and everything, probably. That's probably a word with Fossil.
Oh, Fossil will sort me out. It's just, getting it all back together and flying. I'd like to fly it again because it flies really well. I'm not going to race it anymore. It's too slow now on 8S, but it's nice to turn up at a show and just do, flips and rolls with a big quad, and it flies really well. So I'll just.
And it sounds
what
good.
are they on now?
Keep it
14S,
14, 12s, and 14s.
So this didn't get you hooked on the X-Class sort of bandwagon then, Tony? You're not going to go and build another?
Money. With all my hobbies I've got, I literally just have to even my money out across everything.
Would you build something in between, like a Beast class instead of an X-Class?
I've got a 7-inch drone, but no, I wouldn't really. Doesn't appeal to me, to be honest.
I've been following some of the builds from this guy up north, calls himself a Noisy Boy FPV. He's built some monster quads. Yeah, he's built some monster quads that are quite interesting. I don't know how he gets the space to fly them. 10-inch stuff are really fast, and they're really agile as well. Martin McFly built a 7-inch Tomahawk, the same as mine. I built mine for long range cruising, and he's literally. Well, you were there at the. Yeah, we saw it.
And it rips. So you can have fun with bigger quads. You really can.
Yeah, I was tempted to. If I had a field, I'd definitely buy or build a Beast class. Just like the Macro America has caught my eye from Catalyst Machine Works. That looks a bit of a laugh. That's like one of their America race frames, but scaled up to a 9-inch. Looks a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because it's just not something you do casually, because the components are a lot more expensive, aren't they?
That's the thing. Like, if I want to go 12S, I think
motors are about 100 a piece.
Clive put in the chat the ESCs are £100 each. You need to buy 5. You know, you need a spare, and then you need, you know, it's just you need more batteries. It's just like £1,000, isn't it? So, and you know, I've got other hobbies. I've got bikes to maintain and boats and guns I've got to buy and stuff. So, yeah.
Yes.
But
not
the
quad
summer's
season this year,
coming,
maybe
and
another
I
year.
want to fly again, so I'm looking forward to getting out and doing some more flying. But it's just been I've lost the attractionness of flying every single day. Is gone. You know, when we were first getting into the hobby, we were out. I was dragging Jack out of bed, going down Hidden Valley. It would be freezing cold, frosty. All winters we'd be doing it for a couple of years, and that kind of is gone now. I'm turned into a fair weather flyer, I'm afraid.
I did find a video of us lot, like me, you, Simon Brothers, and we were just surrounded with dog walkers, and it was just mud everywhere, and I was just like, why are we doing this?
Freezing cold.
Yeah, this is dumb.
Yeah, so that's gone now for me. But you know, summer's coming. Well, you wouldn't think so, looking out the window
not this
the last couple of days.
Yeah, I know.
It's been shite.
I did try and fly on Sunday, but I ended up going to the field, going through the cows, sitting down, looking at the GPS on the wing that has got the oak gimbal installed with OpenHD, and noticing the GPS seemed to be not enjoying the fact there was a massive Wi-Fi adapter on there, because it was saying 7 sats, no 4, no 0, no 7 again. And when I have to like launch it and put it into return to home so I can go sit back down and put the goggles on, I'm like, this isn't going to work. It's not going to work, because it loses the signal on launch or something. So I ended up sitting there for an hour in the field trying to figure it out, and then saying, nope, not flying this, go back again. So that was a nice walk. I saw some cows, I sat down on some ground, that was it.
At least you were sensible enough not to fly it.
I've had too many instances of it'll probably be okay, and knowing what happens, or just one last battery, that sort of thing.
Oh, not that.
If something's a bit dodgy.
One last battery.
Yeah.
Don't ever do it.
Always dodgy.
Take that battery home and discharge it.
I've been doing a bit of flying. I've had a bit of fun messing around with all this H7 malarkey with Betaflight. They seem to have finally fixed that. Latest release, no more worries with the H7 stuff. That's a bit of an uphill struggle. I actually wrote a target for this GHE MCU stuff. I wrote one of the unified targets so that the damn thing would work properly, and asked people to put the ESC outputs on an oscilloscope, because I don't have one, and to be honest would have a hard time figuring out what on earth was going on. And they were like, yeah, finally fixed it. Had to change the speed the GPIO pins worked. Apparently the pins were too fast, and it was just like the signal was decaying, wasn't holding the level at the end of the message. That was it. It's all good now. So Betaflight 4.3 should be out soon. And someone managed to hack the DJI goggles as well, which is
root hack.
Yeah, rooted it.
That's pretty amazing. 7.
Well, that's why they've stuffed out another update, isn't it? Please update to this. It'll stop downgrades.
No one is going to be upgrading
dodgy hacking firmware.
No one at all. Because I don't think they can force you to upgrade when you activate currently. I'm sure they'll change that approach, the little so-and-sos. But yeah, currently they don't force you. And yeah, you've got all the same OSD menus as you get with the analog VTX. So you get like the menus you can step through to change your PIDs and to, do all that, all the business, mess around with it.
So promising.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? What FetTech ESC do you want to buy?
Well, they brought out a 12S. I think it's a 20mm or a 30mm 4-in-1, and it's the only 4-in-1 on the market that goes above 8S. I know there's 3 or 4 8S. There's a really fancy T-Motor one that's 150 quid or $200. It's 80 amps, 8S. There's the one I've got, the Foxeer Reaper, which comes in a couple of sizes. They're either 60 or 65 amp 8S. And there's a cheap HGLRC Zeus one, which does 50 amps 8S. And then this Fetech one, only 45 amps, 12S mini quad, 4-in-1. Pretty awesome. Just a neat thing to play with. It probably only takes the Fetech protocol, so you're forced to run it with the rest of the Fetech stack, which would be a little bit annoying, but yeah, just be a cool toy.
Sorry, I'm just having a little Google of it. Products from Fetech.
It's like an HV set. Fetech HV set. It's not on their page. I think it's like a trial product that a few people have leaked about. A guy in Germany did a video, so it's not under NDA or anything, but it's not officially released, I don't think. I mean, even their officially released stuff you can't buy because it's in stock for about 20 minutes and then gone again.
12S mini quad sounds like a bit of a weird thing.
Bit of a giggle, though.
Yeah, I suppose it's like you're building it because you can rather than this will be good.
Yeah, just to see what happens.
You should.
Failsafe built a 10S, so he's got these little GMB 5S cells and runs 2 of those in series. Just be interesting to see how
you've got to have high KV as well, then.
Low KV.
No, I want you to run high KV.
I think he's got like, Christ, he's got 900 KV or something. Yeah, but then you just get like law of diminishing returns after a point because your props are all flattened out and everything, aren't they?
Well, I used to run the Emax 2600 KV on 5S. That was fun.
Yeah,
and
that's about right though. That's not too bad. 2500 on. People are running 2000 kV on 6S now, so they're taking the piss already. Like that's just a standard racing spec. I think Min Chan Kim's race motors are like 2000 kV, and he runs 6S on those. Just nice to mess around with stuff, you know. But yeah, as Caroline Tyler points out, you can get Doom on the DJI goggles.
Oh yeah.
Oh, failsafe spec here. He said he's running 10S with 1100 kV 2207s.
Jesus, man.
That's probably sort of about 1950 to 2000 kV on 6S equivalent, right?
Yeah.
Have you got any footage, failsafe? Can you show us something?
Did you get your 8S build working in the end? It was.
Yeah, it's working. I just hit something and knocked out an arm, and then I doubled up the arms, but I haven't bothered to actually drive anywhere and fly it because the weather's been just all over the place. I was standing in the sun taking a call in the park the other day, and then like 20 minutes later, there was a peal of thunder and the skies were grey and it was hammering it down with rain. I had to run indoors.
Yeah.
So it's just all over the place.
It's not been great.
You know, it's bad when you look in your garden and then the furniture you used to have is sort of tornadoing around like you're in the Wizard of Oz or something.
No, my green bin went flying down the driveway today.
Nice.
Yeah. Caught on camera.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best in Canada either. I've had like one decent day where I was able to get a quick little flight in, but it's been rainy and yeah.
Grey skies like us.
Oh, you pulled it.
Failsafe on his 10S build here. He's kind of a lunatic, even on a regular quad. So I'm not sure how much is the pilot and how much is the quad here, but it's certainly a capable machine he's got.
Nice.
Holy shit, that spins like a Bosch drill, doesn't it?
It really does. He's got some reflexes on him as failsafe.
Everything's just a blur. It's like the Matrix.
Correct us if we're wrong, but he usually flies like with a run cam orange and no stabilization as well, just to make all of us feel even worse about our flying skills.
Yeah.
That thing's shifting.
It's nice. Just a field and a couple of trees.
Yeah, make your own fun.
Need, isn't it?
It's just luxury having a field. I think if there's something that stops us sort of easy able to fly, it's like if you could walk out your door and fly, then you'd probably do it a lot more often. If you have to make a big palaver of it and load up the car and drive for 40 minutes and then watch out for dog walkers, it all becomes a bit of a hassle, doesn't it, sometimes?
Yeah, and while I don't begrudge anyone getting exercise, the whole lockdown thing did actually it did force a lot of people out to the parks and fields, which made it a little bit harder to go for a fly.
Oh dear, don't talk to me about the overweight ladies in their gear running in lockdown. Oh my God, it was funny.
I won't follow that one up. But yeah, it looks like a bit of a giggle running tennis.
Yeah, running anything that sounds silly is should be done just for fun.
Yeah,
Star Wars.
It looks like it's shifting, doesn't it?
Yeah, although it is a bit of a blur.
It's just a motion blur, you know, it's not that good. No, it does look good. It's fun.
Just a giggle.
The thing is YouTube's mangled it. Then we're playing it through StreamYard that's mangling
Double mangling.
If anyone wants to have a look, hop over to the LDO Discord and look at the video yourself. It looks pretty good through YouTube, but obviously punching it through StreamYard is going to squish down that resolution and do a bad job of re-encoding it. So
it's doing a nasty job of the frame rate as well, which I'm sure is much nicer.
Yeah.
Vaseline on the lens.
Yeah, I know.
It's really 1S. He's going like that down the field. Whee!
I'm tempted to make you a lens licker shirt, Tone, and see
whether.
Yeah,
I'll have one of them.
But you know, just we haven't. Have you got any footage of #LensLicker? Can we put a compilation together? Because like I've been compiling
somewhere.
Weirdly enough, I've got a compile of my friends being forced to use Apple products.
For the benefit of Shady, we should point out that Cole is in fact not just northern, but very much western.
Canadian.
Yes, very Northern American.
Yeah, you are more northern than Andy RC. That's the point.
Am I though? I'm actually quite south, to be honest. I'm more south than some parts of California, believe it or not.
Yeah, that is.
Are you south of the UK or north of the UK?
That was a good
Probably
question.
on par.
I don't know.
I think.
We're
they get
actually
the same
quite
sort of weather.
north the UK, but because we get the Gulf Stream, we're not as cold as what happens in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because where I live in southwestern
outside.
Ontario, so it's not exactly. No, yeah, you guys are slightly more north than I am, actually.
There you are.
Yeah.
Andy RC is still more northern.
You can tell though, just because he's so white.
I think we're as far north as Moscow or something crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah. Cole's so southern, he's gone back round.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
To become more northern.
Our western correspondent.
Marsha McFly, I sent you that PCB yesterday, so you should get it tomorrow or Saturday. By the way, have you guys prepped for the bonus pod? And the fire. Don't forget, if you're a lovely Patreon, we're going to be doing a bonus pod about reviewing your video clips to do with fire. So if you have done that, or if you haven't, go to our Discord and post it in the video section of your various flights involving fire.
And I'll post a link to the server in the chat here so that people can come find it.
Yeah. So come and hang out. We'll if you're not a Patreon and you submitted a pretty good video, we'll send you a PM link so you can join and watch. If it's a particularly good video, we'll have a quick flick through before we start, and then so keep an eye out on the Discord. Join the Discord. If you want to be a Patreon and support us, that would be amazing because it means that the show can keep going for longer. we can continue paying the editor and uploading, and everything's great. And we just, you know, we love you guys. Sorry, we're doing a late a late Patreon. This is for last month, so, but you know, we kind of make sure we do it. Anything else, guys? Anything you guys want to cover? You're good. You're ready for this.
Especially.
I mean, unless you guys want to see me crashing my drone last time I flew.
Yes, please.
All right.
Yes, of course we do.
We like.
You did tell me you
crashed. Is that even a question?
Let me see. Wait. Share screen. Okay. Hold on. Let me see here. Okay. So. Window. Wait a minute. Okay. Oh. Technologically inept.
Maybe you can read out the people below, Jack, while Cole's
You
getting
do
ready.
it. You do it.
I don't want to.
Art Faulkner, Wim Davies, Adam Weston, Jeremiah Davis, Richard Warwick, Joshua Bardwell, Rick Spencer, Paul Murray, Wokose, Bloods FPV, Mikey Dread FPV, Phil Flying Frog Parslow, David Lockhart, Daniel Upton, Daniel Carboni, Dom Robinson.
Thank you very much, Patreons.
Thank you for keeping the show alive. You're awesome.
That's
Let's
flying.
go through that. Yeah,
you
I found
guys
a new
weren't joking
spot.
about what it does to the video. Oh yeah.
I found a little
Holding
spot
up.
close to where I live, which is I could get away with because no one was around, but it's kind of tough in Toronto to find spots to fly. Oh,
I would like to see your
Good gap
videos
shooting.
more Canadian themed. I want to see at least one moose or a bear in the next one.
Yeah, I want to
Can
see
you
a
do that?
moose.
I have to drive about 2 hours north to do that.
That's
Alright.
fine. We'll accept
Are you
that.
kind of in a metropolitan area then?
Oh yeah, I live literally right downtown Toronto, so I found a spot which is about 15-20 minutes. I don't really know what it is, but there was some open space. I'm assuming it's private property, but there were dog walkers. So I mean,
It's very brown. It looks like you set your camera to brown mode.
No, just everything is very brown right now. Well, this day specifically, but you can see kind of like the
looks like
city.
in English. Yeah, you can see the city. It just looks like you're
Yeah.
maybe flying in England. Grey clouds, no leaves on the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit browner though. It's not.
It is a little bit browner. We are a bit.
We don't
greener
get cold, so the snow never gets around to actually killing stuff. So it's like muddy and a bit greener and dark rather than muddy and browner and dark.
That wasn't
I've been
too
trying
bad
to-
of a crash.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like I was able. I mean, you can see I was able to. Okay, hold on. Next clip. I was able to fly away from it, so it.
Well, it's not really a crash if you can fly away from it.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's got to be done. All right, guys, that is all we've got time for. We will sort out a.
Don't forget to tune into the Patreon extra bonus pod in
A
10
few minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah, I've got to hand something over to a friend of mine, but yeah, we will get on that. You've been listening to Let's Show Now. You've been joined by everyone's favorite curry kitten,
Goodbye.
everyone's favorite little ESC file starter, Stephen,
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
the man who does the thumbnails, Cole.
See ya.
My there's always a fire in our bed, my darling wife.
Bonjour. English.
Always saying, don't be on fire, but is constantly lighting things on fire. I'm bright till I fly. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.